Okay, we are live. I'm just making sure that everything is proper, Jayita. Just a minute. Cool. I think it works, Jayita. That's okay. We'll get started.
Okay.
Thank you so much. All right. Um, Thank you for joining, and we are on another session on coffee and conversation. Uh, Today we have our special guest Jayita Bhattacharya, who is the senior director with Capgemini, and she's leading P&L and managing different programs with part of her experience. And I've closely worked with her, and she's been my mentor and who helped me in my professional career. And I think whatever I am today and able to do something uh, in the IT industry, I definitely devote a part of it to Jayita because she shaped me as well in terms of evolving as a person and a leader. So with that, I really welcome Jayita. She's a visionary leader, and she has 25 plus years of experience in the IT industry, especially focusing on execution of multiple programs and portfolios, managed P&Ls, and I've seen her as a very composed person and a very strong women leader to work with. Right, you can learn a lot when you work with people, strong people, and very calm. And I've not seen her, going wild for any of the difficult, you know, situations or where even there is a fire going on. I know how detailed she goes. Her attention to detail is very, commendable and very calm and composed all the time. I don't know how she does it, so I've at least tried to learn a bit on that and stick in my way of working. Her determination and perseverance, something which really I admired, right? How she's very perseverant to actually just do something and continuously she's very resilient and continuously try to do what she wants to do and a lot of accolades she's received in her IT journey with the organization. Right, she's mentored a lot of people, constant mentor and coach, working in the industry, and very focused on diversity and inclusion as well, part of her program. And what else to talk about? I'm really excited and honored to have you and bring you to this platform and talk about IT delivery, which is my favorite topic and also your favorite topic. So, without much ado, I really again welcome you, Jayita, to this platform.
Thank you, Naga. So thank you for planning this session and making this happen. So we are talking about this for a while, and then finally we are here. I'm sure I'm going to enjoy the next 40 minutes. It will be a great next 40 minutes. Before you start, one call out from my side. While we work individually for the great organizations, but we are in this discussion today based on our personal interest and all will be our personal point of view, nothing to do with our.
Definitely, definitely, yes. So we really going to share all our personal experiences while being in the industry for, right. Definitely, thank you, Jayita. Thanks for that call out. And yeah, uh, happy to have you and have this conversation, right? So when I wanted to have a conversation with you, the first topic which came to my mind is delivery, right? I mean delivery in various forms in various domains we can do, but especially in IT services, I see how how strong delivery leader you've been and managed multiple programs, be it situations where there was really something fire going on or serious issues or how to track them effectively and and maintain look at the health of the program and measure it, right? So I've seen you done it very seamlessly through over the years. So that's, I thought, why not talk about this and dissect, that's when I okay, that's all about the conversation today. So my first question to you is, being in the industry for 25 years, right? You have seen multiple phases of the IT journey, especially from the Y2K to today. We are talking about Gen AI and ChatGPT, whatnot, right? More on the AI driven world. So you've seen it. You've seen it a lot. Probably share your experience in terms of how technology, especially delivery, has evolved. While technology has evolved for sure, right? We are in the AI driven world, and how delivery, especially software, from the software services industry standpoint, has evolved, and what are the shifts you're seeing, and how it is impacted, both pros and cons, right? Either be it in the positive side or in the a negative side. I'm not going to say negative, but at least to an extent, it might sometimes not the technology advancement sometimes not really help. Sometimes help in terms of what you want to do. So you've seen both sides. So I want to understand from your journey how you've seen deliveries evolved. So let's start from there, Jayita.
Thank you. So, thank you for this question, Naga. So, it's a tremendous, it's a journey, but I would call it as a tremendous transformation. In all this last 25 years, I have seen the industry growing. Yeah. So if I start, it is from the very basic, correct? The shift in our day-to-day life where the technology has evolved. Earlier, we were using the technology. Now, technology drives us. So that's the kind of a transformation we have seen, and that reflects in the IT spend in the industry. So if I look back, the 2005, the IT spend was 2.7 trillion, and in 2023 it became 4.7 trillion. And the expectation, the projection is that in this 2024 it will be a 8% increase, which will take us to 5 plus trillion. So this talks about the tremendous effort, money which has been there in this industry for all these years. If I look back, the nature of work, uh, 25 years back, we were doing more of a automation. So manual work, which getting digitized. So it's more of a automation which was happening. And today, we are in the future prediction era. Hmm? We have moved from mainframe to client server, and now in the era of AI, ML, big data, and cloud for the digital transformation. Actually, so one in this whole journey, the one key thing has been become very very important is the innovation. Yeah. So because in this, when you have to, we are talking about predicting a future, so you have to be very innovative, very proactive, and really delivering the value to the end business, not only to the IT. So we have on a your environment perspective, we have moved on from on-prem to hybrid to cloud transformation today. And generative AI is the key topic. It's everywhere. So the report says that it's like a 96% of the boardroom agenda is surrounded to Gen AI.
Yes. Yeah.
So we have to see where it goes. So it's a journey there. So, so and
Thanks, Jayita.
one more key thing is the programs are not only owned by the CIOs anymore. It's a co-owned by the business or driven by business as well. So
Right. Mm.
that's the kind of a transformation which has happened. We became more conscious towards our society as well, correct? So we are talking about sustainability, we are talking about digital inclusion. These are our focus area at this point of time. Now, with all this transformation, delivery has to evolve, correct? So we have evolved in our delivery methodologies. We were in the waterfallish, then we moved to iterative, and now we are in the era of agile. And I see it will move further because AI/ML coming in, the life cycle of a delivery, it is definitely agile, but it needs a more tweaking when it comes to AI and Gen AI kind of a projects which will come in. Time will only say how it is going to evolve.
I think there's a lot of pressure on running programs at this technology-driven age, right? While focus is on technology, but we need to still have the delivery quality there. Otherwise you don't have customers coming back, or probably there's no point in having technology, but the quality is deteriorating. So yeah, absolutely, there's a very very valid point you talked about. The boardroom
This
conversations being. Yeah,
Correct. This
go ahead.
reminds me one more thing, Naga. So the patience of the customers. So that also has evolved. I think the expectation from customers also has increased a lot. Correct. So when you talked about the delivery quality, there is no more a chance of saying that this is the escape defects. If you remember those old days that we used to
Mm.
measure
Yes.
those things, now it has to be all zero defect delivery. Nobody is happy
Yeah.
talking about. So that's the
Defects.
expectation. Is it really
Yeah.
happening or not? It's really not possible, but definitely not with the critical defects anymore. So that's
Hmm.
there.
Hmm. No, I think it's happening for good, but we have to be little more. I mean, as a delivery person, people have to be more vigilant in terms of capturing or catching a lot of uncertainties. To make sure you run the program successfully.
That's correct.
Yeah, I mean, and especially you talk very valid, very important point. You talked about the more business driven conversation in the boardroom, especially not. I mean, probably you're not seeing that happening in the old, probably 15 years back as well, right? So today it's more on the ROI. Today, definitely it is all about how we are, how the delivery, the project is actually having an influence on the business, or what is the return on investment which will happen. Right. Thank you, Jayita. That's a good information which I've captured. And the next question is on, I mean, a little bit deep dive on the delivery as a function in any organization, right? Be it captive or be it, organization like services where we belong to right now. So delivery as a function is also evolved with technology advancements, and also with how people used to deliver, think about running projects has evolved a lot these days. And one important point is starting from the getting the requirements to actually implementation. There is a lot of shift in terms of how people think about approaching delivery, right? And more towards, I say, from my experience, I've seen the selling has, and delivery has been always, in the past, if you look at it, it has been a very disjointed way of working, and then later there is a phase which came in where it has to be a little bit, there has to be touch points to make sure there is a seamless transition when after the sale has happened. What exactly it's going to be, how it is going to be implemented, and there is a possibility for going back and changing it through CRs or whatnot. So there has been always this back and forth, or there has been a gap, uh, which I've seen it, and a lot of times, for whatever reasons it could be, but then the monitoring of it, execution is execution has always suffered, due to these, right? And sometimes it is worked out well, sometimes it is not. But from your experience, please share how delivery as a function has evolved in an organization, and how it has to be, and what is the key, probably actions which people have to take. If you're a delivery person, you are actually running larger programs, be it small project or large programs. So what are the key priorities which you need to do when you are taking up a program, or running something which is ongoing, or it can be from scratch, right? So how an organization has to think about it as well. So maybe from your experience, please share that.
Got it. Thank you. Good question, Naga. So, if I see in the past, the sales and delivery organizations were a little better for two separate organization kind of a thing, and we used to have some conflict due to that at times. But as we progressed over years, I see these two functions are coming much closer. They're coming much closer, and there are few reasons for that. Because first of all, the today's sale is no more a I would not say as a individual in our terminology, so-called staff
Hmm,
augmentation
hmm,
kind of a thing.
hmm,
Yeah. So
hmm,
we are, even if it is our billing mechanism remains a staff augmentation or a TNM kind of a thing, we are all customers are looking for a solution sale at this point of time. So because of
Hmm.
that, the sales and delivery has come very closer, because the capability comes from the delivery from the solution team, correct? So that has reduced the gap in my view. Second is a lot of transparency has come in into the whole process. Yeah. uh, and maybe the whole industry got evolved, and because of that there is a openness in the people saying that what is happening, what is not happening, coming and collaborating with together. So this transparency is only possible if you are collaborating with each other. So that is how it has happened. So still in few key points which I still practice for not only large programs, any project. That's how I practice and share with my team as well, that the delivery team needs to be involved into the sales process, and then at the final stage at times delivery might not be that effectively involved, but there has to be a sales to delivery handover has to happen in those scenarios, so that delivery is aware of what is the commitment being given. That's very important, because at the end sales stage it will happen, there will be some on the fly decisions will be made. So in that context the sales to delivery is very key, and the broader solution, uh, your beats, your schedule, cost, estimation, everything
Hmm.
needs to be reviewed and contributed by the delivery team. That is one practice definitely we follow. Second, when we are in the delivery process, I practice to involve the sales team also on a periodically, not like very frequently, but periodically the touch point needs to happen so that circle gets completed. Otherwise it is, if they need to take something back to the customer, uh, that never happens. It comes as a surprise to the sales team also, and then we get into the conflict. So it is that periodic touch point is very important. This is all it's our internal. And third, and the most important thing for me is to have the client also involved into the whole means as we moved into the sales to delivery period there. When I say that, that means that uh, the transparency, if it is there with them, they also then appreciate that why a CR which is coming up. Yeah, because
Hmm.
you cannot determine that everything will happen in day one, everything all scope was sorted out. That's a theoretical, it never happens practically, correct? You will have a scope change which will come in, you
Yeah.
will have technology challenges which will come in. So that transparency makes a very important part, and client being involved into the whole journey. Yeah, that's my two
Wonderfully said,
cents.
Jayita. No, I think it's important, right? So it is important to involve customer because being in agile today, the delivery is predominantly the life cycle has changed to agile, right? Nobody is looking at maybe some iterative. Uh, so involving customers more and more in the process is it's definitely key. And you really said, I think I like that terminology, right? It's not it's a solution sale, right? So it's more solution driven sales than anything else, right? But I think one more important point, which I probably want to pick your mind on, that is there is always this, right? As you really very rightly talked about the staff augmentation, or probably when you augment people as well, right? But then that's more of a contracting model, but then doesn't really stop you from looking at more holistically delivering a delivery model. Still be, you engage the customer, you try to look at what is that you're doing beyond that the person is involved, right? So and understand. So I think this is something which I've seen, right? Differentiating between the contracting model and the delivery model. As always, we tend to there is a thin line, but we tend to just forget about that. And probably when it's more of a staff augmentation, we tend probably I've seen that a lot of times there's no focus, or we just think that it's more of a staff aug kind of a work, but we can do much more. So I think, how have you seen that? Do you still see that as a understanding gap, or it's evolving?
No, if I have understood your question, Naga, you're saying that how means the
The
client is.
contracting model can be anything, but then the delivery focus has to be, in terms of, how do we engage with customer and more of work towards the business objective, whether I'm doing through time and time material based, or it can be an outcome based. It doesn't matter from the
Absolutely.
contractually, but your delivery is, yeah.
No, no, it's absolutely that's a uh, definitely a change. See, none of the customers. See, we might since the scope is not really can be frozen or we don't know because as the customer also do not know as they go along they will also evolve. So the
Hmm.
way of commercial angle might come in as a time and material way, yeah, but that does not change customer expectation and our way of working also,
Right.
that customer says and I do that work. No, absolutely, it's not the that was the past era, I would say, that order taker kind of a way
Order
of
taking.
working, correct? So that's no more a way of working. Nobody will appreciate that. You need to be talking eye to eye with the customer, correct? You need to, and the boldness has to come in there, the boldness in how you understand the customer business, understand the technology, support them with the consulting way. So it is, I see it has become little disjointed. Earlier we used to see that it's a fixed price project, hence I am owning. It's a T&M project, I don't care. That kind of a mindset we had, correct? No, that is no more. I don't see that there.
Yeah. I think even if you have, it should just keep it away and then focus on how to wow the customer, or try to be more customer centric, and look at how their business is all about, and how can we contribute to actually better their business, right? So that's the way we have to approach. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you, Jayika. And the next question, I think I'm going to just bit deviate from the delivery topic, right? But I think let's say talk about women in data, or women in the IT industry, right? So being, I'm in. I think you've been a really personal inspiration for me. I mean, while I've been driven by women power throughout my career, from the personal side as well, right? My mom, my grandmother, and especially my wife in the last 13 years or more, she has been my pillar of strength of what I'm doing today and how I'm able to run things. So, like, especially from the professional standpoint, I've admired you a lot in terms of how you run and execute things. And I think I still remember, I think uh, one of the key quote which you said, I mean, probably out of conversation, but then I still recollect that, hey, men, you guys get more emotional, or probably. So I think you said it right, but probably the common composition, I think I've seen it outside as well, right? Other women, they do, and probably when, especially when you do execute programs where there is a lot of hustle and bustle going on around, but how do you drive those with your focus, right? And when you do, I mean, especially from I'm not really going to go into gender bias, but then having the responsibility, because I see pretty much the responsibility of the family also comes in when women grows in their career. So how has you have managed that? I mean, your son is in doing medical, and he's in fourth, I think fourth year, I guess, right? So how have you balanced that, right, and successfully able to drive and be as a leader for the other women to follow? So I think you maybe just talk about that, right? I think it will be an interesting conversation to just deviate from the delivery.
Absolutely. So, if I have to personally, Naga, I'm driven by, I would say, three passions. One is my work, second is my family, and third is seeing new places. That's the three passion I will have. And I relate to Indra Nooyi a lot in that. The reason being, she is. She was also her two primary axes was work and family, and then obviously she was a visionary. She could able to see a new era of PepsiCo, performance with purpose, and she was very bold, resilient. So I really followed her, and I used to read her articles, and that really inspired me, and I got very good tips from there. Just to be very practical, and I found her very practical. So the one tips which really touched me is, don't try to be perfect in everything. You cannot be. And if you see, I'm very bad at home. I cannot. I'm not good at some household thing, which I accept it. And I'm
Hmm.
so you cannot do best in everything. So you have to go by your passion where it lies, correct? So
Hmm.
where I see at times we miss out is, I want to be the girls I've seen. They want to be good in everything. So that
Hmm.
stresses out
Hmm.
a lot. So that is
Yeah,
my mantra. Don't be perfect. Try to be perfect in everything. Try to be perfect where you have your passion,
you
actually.
can.
So that's
No,
the.
I think it's very very relatable. I think very practical tips you have given, which is it's very true. I think a lot of times we want to be best at everything, so it definitely comes at a cost, right? So again, it's very difficult to achieve that. I think it's very practical. I know it has worked once. I think people should take this advice. And I'll also repeat it when I talk to people. That I mean, not just for women in general, but everybody, right? It applies to everyone to know to drive what your passion is, and that helps the other things as well. Yeah. Thank you, Jayita. So coming back to the topic of delivery, right? So I think the skills, the gamut of skills which is required, right, to be a successful delivery leader or delivery manager, can be project manager, so whatever role you fit into the delivery function, right? So it is actually has evolved a lot. I would not say it is changed, but then more and more, understanding of how to execute programs, whether it's small and when you actually grow at a large scale and do multiple at the same time. So the some of the things have changed from what you have seen from your when you started to right now, right? Being a project manager yourself and to where you are, and you see a lot of different program and project managers who are running projects, right? What is the how well, first I want to understand what are the gaps you see, right, in the current generation of people who are running projects and programs, and where they where they struggle, and how what from your experience, what is your advice for them, and also uh, what are the top five essential skill to be a successful. I would say when I say successful, it's not that every project you run, so that's not going to happen. It's not an ideal world that everything you execute is going to become successful. But of course, but then to at least you have done your part, 100%, right? That kind of a fulfillment you should have when you actually execute a project. So that I'm trying to go there. So maybe you talk about that, right?
Sure. So there are. Okay, let me start with the project manager because he is the person for the project. Then I'll come to the other roles you are talking.
Hmm.
We'll touch upon that. So for a project manager, I see few key things. One is that first is the leadership. Needs to be looked at as a leader for the team. That's very important, and which means that you need to have certain strong focus area like your team leadership, your teamwork, your collaboration, your decision making, defining clear roles for the team. So certain things needs to be definitely there for you as an individual, as I see. Other than that, it is three other parameters. We are in the era of specialization at this point of time. But I see this project manager is one role which is more than specialization, it is more of a breadth which is needed.
Hmm.
That's my very personal view of mine. And that comprises of three key knowledge area. One is your project management concepts, your estimation, scheduling, financial planning, resource management, all
Hmm.
era of your 360-degree of project management. Second, need to have a technology, breadth of the technology. so that you can be looked at as a leader for the team. Yeah. Somebody is coming to give you an estimate. You need to be in a position to see, is it far away, the estimate, or you're in the ballpark. At least that kind of a technology knowledge needs to be there. And third is the domain angle, the industry knowledge angle, because the solution what we are delivering to the customer, you need to have some understanding of the solution. So these three pillars is very important for the project manager. It's not easy that you will know everything, but you if you have the right mindset, you can definitely learn. Correct? And it is not difficult to learn if you have the right attitude to be there. So that's my view on the project management side. Rest of the roles, I think it is more specialized at this point of time. The business analyst, the data analyst, these roles were not there earlier. Correct? The data analyst role is very new one which is coming up,
Mm.
so we are getting into that kind of a thing. So, or the technology architect, technology lead, developer, and they're very specific, and depth is high into that context actually. But this one project manager role, I really think it needs to be more breadth which is needed.
Breadth. I think captain of the ship. And so it's essentially, definitely, the basic project management skill has to be, not at all a compromise. So he needs to know the planning, scheduling, able to at least manage that budget of that project, and run it, effectively. So I think measurement also is one of the key things which I see, Jayita, right? So how do you
Track
measure
the
the progress of the project? A lot of times I see that, the understanding of today's world, with technology giving a lot of more insight, but the basic understanding of the quality metrics, or how do you measure the progress of the project in various metrics, right? So that is missing. So what do you think on that trend? Uh, um, uh, that is also one of the skills which they need to have.
Absolutely, absolutely. So here, one interesting part, as I see that agile, when we are in the era of agile, it all became like agile equal to hurry, rather than
Hmm.
actually measuring the project. In the name of that, I have to deliver fast. I let go of certain things. Which I do not measure. But that really doesn't help actually. So in the long run, if it is a real large program, if it is really not been measured by a sprint or a PI, whatever you wanted to do that, so that needs to be measured, tracked, and then only the program it will proceed. If a smaller project might be, you might not see that thing, you might still
Hmm.
succeed. But large program, if you do not do that, it is very difficult actually. Tracking is very, very key. So,
So, so if you look at the top five essential skills, right? I mean, I'm not going to bound it by just top five, but I think the essential skills which is any delivery person needs to have is to at least have the one is to have a breadth, not just focus on one area of it. Let's say when you say breadth, it can be having a basic project management experience and skills to run a project, to schedule, understanding of different way of tracking and measuring the progress, and communication, especially the soft skill part of it is definitely an important aspect of it, right? So yeah, not to be just narrowed, and maybe this is called that T-shaped uh, uh, skill development, which we call it, right?
that's correct.
um,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, you called out
So
very rightly. The communication part is very key. I did not highlight that because it is, I would say, finally, whatever you do, if you're not able to communicate, it's not going to work out. If you see
hmm,
the most of the delivery escalation when it comes, it is just that I would have done five things trying out improving the performance, but somehow it might not have worked out. But I did not communicate the effort I have spent to improve on that.
hmm.
So that's very, very, very key that you communicate what you are trying to do, and everybody understands. So yes, that's there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Jayita. Just driving a little bit to the next question is, see, while everybody wants to successfully execute projects, but not I think, as I really mentioned, right, not every project will go as you anticipated for whatever reasons it could be, right? So definitely failures are a stepping stone for success. So of course there is a project failure doesn't probably the project one thing which I think it's a old saying, but I don't think so it is really relevant at this point, right? People say when the project goes well, it's a team effort, but then when the project it's not success, it's project manager's responsibility. So I think, how do you look at that? So how do you then, and what is the takeaway of any times when a project or program fails? So what is the takeaway for that program or project, the delivery persons, or even as a collective, as a whole team, not just delivery, right? Any other people as well. And then what is the takeaway for them to actually see what went wrong? And also, from your experience, what are the key essentials, or probably attributes to build a resilient team, right? Because of course resilience is very important when you actually try to do something. Maybe it may not work out, but then how do you continue to do and get better at it? So maybe from your experience, because it has developed a large teams of various globally. So maybe from your experience, please share that data.
Absolutely. So my learning, Naga, in all these years, a program never fails due to some technology glitches or your missing functionality, because
Hmm.
those things you can, it might shift your schedule, it might increase your effort level, if you are not able to be successful in one technology, your one POC would have failed. So it will more, little more effort, little more schedule impact, but program totality never fails. Program fails in my view if we have not started one very key thing. The program is to start right at the beginning.
Hmm.
That's very key. If you are not starting it right, it is very difficult to come back later. Then the impact becomes
Yeah.
very, very high actually. And it is in all aspect. It is like setting up the project management practices. It's the smallest thing. Maybe the communication plan, how will you track defect, how will you track your risk, everything what I'm saying actually. So basic project management needs to be very straight at the beginning. You cannot do mistake there. Second is your the forming the team, that you, it is not just gathering some skills, and that too we are now into that all distributed hybrid model we are working, correct, virtually we are working. So it is even more important that you need to have a one team built in at the beginning itself, because other than that one project manager cannot run everybody and make it happen. It is the team who makes it
Hmm.
happen, correct? So that's very important. So, and the third thing is, I would say, to for team to understand the big picture, what customer is looking for. So, while we definitely will get into the details of this report building, this pipeline building, or this defect fixing, we need to understand the big picture. Definitely, which is important for the whole team, not only one or two people. Then that commitment does not come, in my view, from the team. That is the
Right.
third. The fourth thing is definitely having a curious mind to be there, so
Hmm.
that you become more proactive, you become more innovative. So that's another area. So that, and you are open enough to accept diverse ideas, not like one driving the whole story. It means the whole sprint or so. So that those are the three or four points which comes to my mind, which has to done very right at the beginning.
Hmm. No, I think you're very. I think start right. So that's very important,
That's
right? I
the
think you said
mantra.
it's an important. I think very valid point. You said once gone wrong, it's difficult to get back to a track. So starting it right is it's an important point to note. And I think the other question on that, which I asked, is about what is the so the programs will fail, right? I think building resilient team. So with geographically distributed, as you said, today we are no more 5 days going to office and everybody is working from home, or probably a kind of a hybrid model we are into, right? So what are the things which everybody should do to to have a strong team, who's able to contribute towards the common goal, and especially when it comes to delivery or a project, there is a common objective and everybody's working towards, right? So what are the things which probably you have done or you see as a as probably actions which people have to take to bring the team together, if at this stage, right? Because we are all hybrid. Maybe one day we go to office or 2 days, and then rest of the time all throughout. Or sometimes I've seen a lot of teams working completely remote. Do you think that's working out?
That's correct. So, as you say, the common goal, correct? That is very important to understand what is the common goal. Then only somebody needs to come and say to that. So then only the team can march, and that somebody is the project manager. Then the team will march towards the common goal. That is one.
Hmm.
Second is your in this hybrid model, or earlier it was virtual, correct? One thing have seen which works very well. It's a first meeting is first. It's some initial meeting is in person. If you can do that, your 50% or more than that battle, you have won that battle. Even if it is not possible, various cost pressure, location pressure, whatever is there, even if it is not there, you're totally working from different locations into that context. uh, I practice one thing called virtual working together kind of a thing. We give a good name and then they work together. Everybody logs in and into, say you're working, say 10 to 5 or whatever time, 10 to 4. Everybody logs in into that virtual room, okay, and do your job. You're getting ask the other person
And you.
call out saying
Hmm.
that, hey, I'm stuck. Maybe they will take a breakout session, do that, their debate, their problem, solve it, and come back to the main this thing. There are at times that call is totally silent. Everybody is working. Then you take the lunch break together. Maybe some lunches on Friday lunch, do it together virtually. So
Hmm.
those things works out well, and makes the team together. Actually, that's very important.
No, that's right. I think I definitely see. I don't think so. We can really forego that um, personal connects, right? Because
You cannot.
we have to have that. We are while we are evolving towards AI driven initiatives, we are still human beings with uh, um, human emotions and personal touch. So definitely that helps a lot to solve a lot of problems. Yeah, you are right.
And
I
we
think I've
talk
tried.
about that, we will have that self-independent team, self-motivated, all are good,
Yes.
correct? And
Yeah.
that is, but we work in the services industry with a lot of college graduates, correct? And
Mm.
while they have a lot of energy, they need to be feeling that where they are going into, correct? They need somebody to work with it. If it is that everybody is a 10 plus years in the team, it is one different setup can be possible.
Yes.
But
Yes.
when you have youngsters in the team, you need to have that togetherness.
Yes, that's right. No, absolutely. I think that's that there is a learning curve for them. So probably to set that right, they need to have the physical presence and trying to solve problems. Learn a lot. I mean, when you actually sit next to somebody, then you learn a lot. Then remote, yeah, you find calendars and block them. I think the other important because when we started the first question, you talked about today we are more focusing on sustainability and inclusivity, right? Diversity and inclusion and all that. So today more the conversation in the boardroom as well as the customer in customer minds when any programs when we start, be it in any organization today, their focus is on how do we drive the sustainability, how do we run this, keeping that in mind, which was not the case earlier, right? It is sort of a separate ESG, it would be only separate. But today, every single program, everybody started to think about the environment because of the climate change or whatever reasons that it has become more essential part of the thought process, and as well as the other inclusivity is also diversity and inclusion is also part of the discussion with beyond just saying gender, women and men kind of an inclusion. We have evolved a lot in that space. So how as a leader you see that, Jayita, and what are the initiatives you think people can adopt and think about improving those initiatives?
So, 2 points. First, on that diversity angle, see, I hear that organizations, some of the organizations, they have already tried it out, the neurodiversity part. I am also experimenting one such intern, and it's a huge learning. While we are training him, we are also learning a lot from here. I have to really see how it progresses, but it's a very
It's a,
fulfilling journey, I can say.
hmm,
And I hear that initially when we were discussing that some of the organizations got really benefited out of that, and I think it's
hmm,
definitely something to uh, watch out and try it out. In my view, that is one thing. On sustainability, I think we were. This topic is there for a while now, correct? But have we really progressed? In my personal view, is it is still slow, and but there is focus or the pressure from the regulators a lot, correct? And there are milestones for 2030, 2050, and so on and so forth. I am very sure it will gear up more, and we will do more projects, programs for the customer, which are more towards sustainability. And
sustainability.
yeah, and the last point here, I think, as a we all are our environment perspective, not only the projects, the environment perspective, definitely we became more conscious and thinking about the sustainability angle consciously. That part definitely has happened actually. But
Yeah.
as a
No,
overall
even personally, right? We have,
mm,
yeah. I mean, even in personally or at our home, we have to keep thinking about it, right? I mean, the just the small tips of closing the tap properly without leakage. From there, it starts. So it's a lot of personal education as well as in terms of making sure when we drive programs in such large corporate context, how do we think sustainability as a priority? It's really definitely a challenging part to think about and start moving towards it, but it's an important it cannot be really put it in the back burner right now with the
yeah,
way the climate change is happening, and how we have to be very conscious about the
that's
environment.
that's correct. And I don't think so.
Okay,
The regulators will allow you also for a long time. So it's going to come back to
yeah, I think every organization has to now take that, every household. I think one important recent discussions we were doing is like how do we um, uh, using solar for your electricity at your home. So there is a lot of places in North America as well, right? People, if you use solar, one, you actually generate for your own house, as well as you distribute it. You become a distributor for that own community, and then you get subsidy from it. So basically, I've seen a lot of bills have gone down, and investment on the initial on setting up that incur some cost. But then beyond that, how do you it's for a long term. So looking at the current capital and what you're investing, it's a very very short term thought, but then if you look at a long term, you're really going to save a lot, and you're also helping the community to go to give the backup power, right? So how you're giving
it.
it back to the grid. So I think those initiatives are happening even in India. So those are small initiatives which you can take at your home and contribute towards the environment.
Definitely, definitely.
Yeah. All right. I think we are close to an hour, Jay. It is.
Yeah,
I think I've covered pretty much a lot of discussions, and I think we can have I would be happy to have an in-person discussion sometimes in future, and we can have a longer conversation on different topics. But
Absolutely.
I think this is this is definitely very informative, and happy to have you part of this platform. Something different from what I've seen, Jayita, which it's good. I'm privileged and really, happy to have you here in a different avatar of you. Thank you so much, Jayita, for coming and
Thank you.
sharing all
Thank you,
your
Naga, for
questions.
arranging this. Actually, this is a good initiative. Thank you for this.
No, no, my pleasure. Thank you for sharing all the information and very informative conversation I had. And I'll keep
Thank you.
continuing and bring you in different forum as well. Thank you, Jayita. Have a good
Thank
Sunday, Saturday evening, and rest of the weekend.
you. Yeah. Happy weekend to you also and to everybody. Thank
Yeah,
you. Bye.
thank you. Bye.